behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, June 5th, 2022. I had to double check myself there for a second. I am your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, along with my co-host, the guy downstairs, Mr. Chris Bennett. Hello, Chris.
How's it going, my friend?
It's going marvelous. The
Good.
weather's been really nice last few days.
I have been enjoying it. Yeah, the last few days has been really nice here. And it's already, we're up in the first week of June, and can you believe it? You know, I was just waiting for warm weather to get here not long ago, and boom, it's here. It's about
here.
time, too.
Yeah, it's already June 5th. Before you know it, it'll be the 4th of July.
Yeah, are you guys still getting snow? Or
No, that's
finally got
long
thawed out?
gone. The trees are green again.
Oh, good, good.
So we're definitely happy about that. And hello to everybody in the chat room, which it's that time to say hi to everyone. And of course, we want to throw a shout out to Rockite Man 2001. What is up? Brian McMahon. Good to hear from you. My Eyes is in the house.
My Eyes.
Jay Bachochin, I think he's still floating around.
Hey, Jay.
OT couldn't go fishing because he was working OT. Who else? Patty Troy. Welcome, Patty. Good to see you. Arthur Watch. Hello, Arthur. Good to see you again. Brian and Chewy go hiking. Good to have you guys back here. That
Lance Windsor. Hey,
Life is Lance Windsor. Hello, Lance. Don Fuller in the house.
Don.
Bigfoot and More. Good to see you. Bigfoot and More asked if we're having Zorthon tonight. Well, you never know how it may happen. Who else is here? Life is a Flyway. Good to see you.
Life is a Flyway.
Joe is in the chat.
Hey, Joe. Good to see you, bud.
And Rod Dupree. And we did get Don Fuller. So hello, everybody.
Donald, good to see you.
So it's good to see. About 5 after the hour, everybody starts floating in. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. Zorth may be with us because I think Zorth is supposed to be everywhere, kind of like omniscient or something. I'm not sure what the whole story is on Zorth there, but
and Mr. Lee 3PO is here. Hello.
Lee 3PO. I love that.
Great name, great screen name. I like it. Must be a Star Wars fan, which reminds me.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
The first clash of Obi-Wan and Darth.
Yes.
And we don't want to give spoilers away in case you haven't seen it yet. But we can talk. Can we talk about the first episode?
You know, I don't know. I really don't want to mess
All right,
it
we'll
up
wait.
for
We'll
anybody.
wait.
But,
We'll wait.
if you guys are not watching, the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series on it's on Disney, right?
Yes, Disney Plus. Yep.
Yeah. If you're not watching it, you need to because it's really good. If you're a Star Wars fan, oh man! And we're up to episode. Let's see, this is 3, the third one now.
Yep.
And the big Darth makes his appearance, and
Finally,
that's all I want to say about it. But
and he was I'll give away a little spoiler without really giving away a spoiler. It was pretty. He was pretty friggin' brutal.
Oh boy,
he done pissed. But anyhow, yes, that's right. Guess who's coming up my way in July, the beginning of July? But none other than Mr. Joe himself.
Ah, Joe.
So I'm going to have to take that weekend off and spend a little time and with him and the missus. And so that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Donald, it's as ginger and long as I'm just Reva is pretty.
Episode 3 is great. Life is a Flyway. It's great. I went from leaning back to like sitting up on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my God, there he is. Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, you know what? I think that show, for the first time, I think in the whole entire series, you have fear when Vader arrives.
Yeah.
It really captured that fear.
Yeah.
Which was never done particularly this way in any other Star Wars production. Vader's here. It's not like, oh, it's Darth Vader. No, it's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's certainly, they get across why everyone in the Republic was afraid of Vader. It really comes across very well.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about it. But you'll like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And and I don't know if you've heard, but the new Andor season or the new Andor series, Star Wars Andor, is going to be airing, I think, at the end of August.
That'll be great.
That's going to air, and then the Mandalorian, of course, will be after that.
Yeah,
and then after that will be Ahsoka Tano, the Ahsoka Tano series.
Well, I was really pleased with the Mandalorian what is going on over there?
Joe has a Bigfoot questioner ready.
All right.
How does someone appear to know more about Bigfoot than anybody else? Well, that's very easy. You meet Zorth. Anyway, before we get into it, Mr. Bachochin, are you in the house right now? Just give us a thumbs up or something in chat, because we want to talk about something that's coming up in August as well.
I saw him earlier.
Hence the segue.
A lot of times when I'm listening to podcasts, I might step out of the room and go grab a ski or something,
A ski or another ski.
Yeah.
But
hey, there's Michael. Hey, Michael. Good to see you, bud.
Yep. Oh yeah, Michael's in the house. Yeah, but is Jay still in the house? Well, you know what? We'll show that at 10 p.m.
Yeah, when you get back from the restroom, Jay, we'll just let us know.
Yeah. Give us a courtesy, please. So anyway, today's episode 92 of Squatch-D TV, we're going to talk about some of the crazy things, Bigfoot madness, some of the crazy things that people say. I didn't want to put crazy in the title because I didn't want to flag anything with YouTube, as we get flagged every week for some reason or another, probably because I'm in camouflage. And Jay is in the house. Okay, so
there he is.
So let's do this. I know there is a little drag between what you guys are seeing and us talking, so there's about a minute delay, so that's why. So no, we're not going to show a Snapple commercial this week. Instead, we're going to show, and Jay will be on when we get close to the release. Jay will be on. If anybody didn't catch Finding Jay, get on Amazon and watch it. It's a great watch.
Yeah.
Very down-to-earth watch. And you understand a lot about my friend Jay Pachochin. And, family guy, man of God, but he's trying to find answers. And while filming the second season, there's a lot of stuff, interesting things that started to occur. And not all of it can be necessarily answered by Sasquatch research alone, I think. I think there's some other elements at play. But let's get into the trailer. This is going to be awesome. I'm excited just watching that trailer.
Awesome. What the heck was that there at the last?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff. So I think there's a convergence of phenomena going on there, but we're going to have to watch to find out. So
that's interesting. Yeah. Oh boy.
It should be good times. And I'm always glad to help my good friend Jay. And it's going to be really cool to see that. I can't wait. Waiting. Anyhow, getting back to the crazy things people say about our friend, the Sasquatch. There has been so much on social media. I'm sure everybody has seen it, where somebody is coming out with some really wild and crazy things. Now, let me predicate this a little bit. I got to turn my volume just a little bit up. Let me predicate this a little bit. I'm not about taking away somebody's experience, that if they had something strange happen to them, okay, I'll take that at face value and investigate it. Maybe there is a scientific explanation for it. But when we look at some of these things that some of the more cultural icons of this philosophy, I can say, bring forth, they say it with such vehemence and vigor, and they'll be the first ones to say that, you know, not everybody knows everything about Bigfoot, but then they come across as knowing all. And so it's, and I actually spent the time today to watch in full time these interviews or these presentations made by a couple of these folks that we're going to be talking in particular tonight, and some of the comments of their followers made around them. You know, so please understand what I do for this show. You know, the Kiwani Lapsaritis interview was maybe about 3.5 to 4 minutes. The Matthew Johnson presentation was over 4 hours. So that's why I'm drinking coffee tonight.
I spent like an hour and a half watching Letters from the Big Man, trying to find a specific scene, and it wasn't there.
The things we do for this show sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bless you. I'm not going to pain you with 4 hours plus of Dr. Matt Johnson, but I am going to give you a couple of snippets of their stuff. And we've talked about this in the past. It's been a while about the kind of cult, almost the cult-like atmosphere that Johnson is molding. And Joe makes a comment, and I want to, let me jump over here and put that up. Nobody is an expert, but well, I am. So let me tell you what Bigfoot told me physically or psychically. Okay, sure, tell me. Yeah, Joe is like, he's been wanting this. Joe, if you'd like to come on the show tonight, just, you know what? You know what, Joe? If you got time, I'm going to throw you an invite link on the messenger, and you can come on, because I know how dear this topic is to you now that I think about it. And I should have asked you earlier, but I was so, today's been one of those days where I've been running my butt off for no particular reason. Let me get, oh, that's right. I'm trying to find his handle. There it is.
Well, I've closed my door here, Steve, but one of the youngest pups has learned how to bark very well, and he likes to show that off. So there may be a little barking in the background.
Oh, that's fine. We love our hairy friends. Yeah. Question in the chat: doesn't Johnson have a compound? Absolutely. You know what? That's a perfect segue to bring up the graphic that I showed Chris earlier. Yeah. Does he have a compound? Well, yes, he does. You know, because of the way he's molded this. Oh, look. And there's Joe and a buffalo hat. Hello, Joseph.
Joe.
Hey, man. How's it going?
And look, he's got the name Buffalo Joe.
Yeah.
Are you going to talk to the animals today, Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to use my psychic abilities.
But does he have a compound? Well, here's how the story has progressed. And I don't know why we're so fuzzy on YouTube right now. I just noticed that it's starting to clear up slightly, and I apologize for that. I don't know why. If there's an issue here going on, shouldn't be a bandwidth issue. I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
It looks okay here, Steve.
Oh, maybe it's just
We got the squirrel cage internet here, so if it looks good here, I mean, I'm sure everybody can see it.
Yeah, probably. It's probably just the, yeah. So, anyhow, I'm just going to look at the, let me just, does he have a compound? Well, as you know, it started, yeah, we're clear. As you know, it started in what I believe he called Soha, whatever the hell that means. I'm not even going to try to define or, try to define his acronyms. And he had, WOHA, which was Washington. I don't know. But then he moved, and according to his omnipotent, they always follow. They'll follow me there. And he's had Zorth at his home and other Bigfoot at home. And
sure,
he showed, when he did the big reveal in 2017, he showed a picture of this candy bar with a little, this maple bar or whatever with the top scraped off it. And it looked like, it didn't look like no Bigfoot bite to me, but well, they were in my house and it Joe, you know what I'm talking about. Have you watched that? Yeah. So I'm like, oh, come on. But there's a lot of other little intricacies to that whole thing, which I will bring up in a little bit. But right now I want to show you, and for those listening on iHeart and Apple Play and Google Play and all those fun places, and of course on Amazon Music and Audible, we just encourage you to go to SquatchDTV.com and just go to episode 92 and you can see these videos. Yeah. So let's show this little compilation video I put together with Kawani and Dr. J.
It's not about monsters. It's about what's really out there, no matter what people look like. In fact, I say in my book that there's racial discrimination going on with the Sasquatch people and with the star people, the ETs, because they look different.
I would put out gifting bowls, not bait piles. If you're working with the dumb giant mountain ape, you're going to bait it because that's what you do with animals. You bait animals, but I'm no longer working with animals. I'm working with a forest people. I'm working with an intelligent, sentient being, so I'm no longer baiting it. I'm gifting the forest people.
In 2012, I had a brain tumor, and I told the Sasquatch about it, and they had that year 6 times the ETs took me to dissolve the tumor.
Zor says we don't eat mammals, and quit assuming just because you see us walking away with deer over our shoulders, you think we eat mammals. We don't. We have pets to feed. And he said the Trachon eat mammals, not us. Who are the Trachon? He said the Trachon were brought over to Earth a long time ago to mine the planet by an alien species, and when they were done mining, they left the Trachon behind.
Now, I think what we're seeing here are 2 different distinct personalities. The first personality, James Lapteritis, he almost, I'm pretty sure it sounds like he believes everything he's saying. I just don't know how that happens. Again, an educated man. He's got a master's degree and master's in science, no less. And then we have Dr. J, who to me has created this whole fictional world. This is, speaks of the guy who created Scientology a little bit. What's his name?
Hubbard.
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard. It kind of speaks of that, where he created this religion, with these alien species. It's very parallel. So for people
way to make millions of dollars, create your own religion.
I don't know if he's doing that because it's such small scale. but he is creating, how should I say it, opportunities for himself. A lot of people, you know, he charges $150 for his weekend getaway with the Sasquatch, the forest people. You know, then there's the whole thing that, you know, he, in the reveal, he said, oh, they can heal people and stuff like that. And then there was that controversy where one of the members of the group died, basically refusing medical treatment, hoping that the Janu would heal him. Now, the Janu are the good Bigfoot that can be magical. The Trachon are the bad ones, the ones that can't do what the Janu do. Like, the Trachons can't turn into balls of light, and they are aggressive and malevolent, as he put it. So there's a lot of this nonsensical, you know, and then he makes statements throughout his entire lecture about having evidence. There is no evidence. You know, he talks about, you know, they don't take fruits or vegetables or meat from them. They take basically stuff they can't get, like carb, you know, bread and pizza, but they scrape the mushrooms and the olives off the pizza. And, you know, here we have a picture of a box with, you know, the pizza with all. Well, where's the video of the Sasquatch actually doing this? There is none.
Yeah.
You know,
it seems to me that he would actually they would want the mushrooms because that's a natural food. You know?
Yeah. Now, Steve over there made a comment saying that I read somewhere that the obscure dialect of Spanish, Nanu, means fool. I don't know.
Well, you know, that's the thing. This is exactly, Steve, just like, well, I think you mentioned it earlier, and it's been said before. This falls exactly into that area of keep an open mind, but not so open that your brains slip out onto the floor.
Yeah. Don't throw away the science.
You know, that's what gets me about everybody who I tend to piss off, I guess. I don't mean to. But people are like, well, you got to have an open mind. You can't say that for sure. And it's like, my mind is open to, it's not open to the totally ridiculous.
Right. You have to have a filter. And for one person, and one person only, to say there, oh, well, Zorth has this. Zorth is the head of the Janu. He's a member of the Council of 12. But they brought Dr. Matt Johnson as their ambassador. Now, if that doesn't sound cryptically like a cult to me, you know, let's look at the Branch Davidians who turn around and, you know, or, you know, the FDLS, where you have Warren Jeffs, or the Branch Davidians, where you have David Koresh, who say, you know, I am the prophet. I am bringing you the word of this superior being to you, and you must believe what I say. There's so many parallels. And, you know, for the first time, I've, instead of looking this from the root, and a lot of us, of course, I understand why we're Bigfoot researchers, but instead of looking at it from a Bigfoot research aspect, I looked at it from a psychological aspect. And that's funny because he's a psychologist. And, you know,
that is scary, actually. But, and you know, what's sad is that, as I understand it, you know, some of this may have been brought on, and I guess I kind of have to have a little bit of empathy if it's true, but, you know, he's had a brain injury. He got a car accident or something, from what I understand.
I don't think that has much to do with this.
Well, I don't know. Brain injury would explain a lot, man.
Well, if you listen to him, he goes back and says, well, I couldn't say this back then. And then he talks about, you know, witnesses having PTSD. Perhaps he's having his own version of PTSD, and this is how it's manifesting. I don't know. Yeah. The interesting, I mean, I can only go with what I have in front of me. And what I have in front of me is a man who calls the Janu a people, or the Sasquatch a people, not a dumb, stupid ape. Apes are not dumb, nor they are, they're very intelligent.
Yep.
And they contain about 91% of our DNA. A chimp contains about 94.8 or 6% of our DNA. So these are not stupid animals. They're not like a deer. They're not like a bear. They're not like a fox or any of the other critters in the forest. So what that tells me is that he himself lacks a lot of knowledge of, what a Sasquatch could be, but it doesn't matter to him because now he has an agenda. Another thing that tells me, that shows to his, when you deal with somebody that's developing a cult, what is the number one item they have is an ego. The big reveal took over 4 hours. 4 hours. I'm sorry. I've revealed evidence and stuff like that took me a much shorter period of time. Of course, when you're doing a show, yeah, you got it. But I would never make people sit there for over 4 hours listening to me babble on and talk about who I like and who I don't like, and the reason why, like Johnson called out Dave Paulides with his missing 411 stuff. Now, well, I agree, not all the cases in missing 411, nor maybe any of them, are related to Sasquatch activity. However, to bring that up in the middle or towards the end of a presentation sounds like, to me, self-serving and cultish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Go ahead, Chris. You were going to say something.
Well, yeah, and he's trying to leave off and explain one mystery by introducing another, as if, that what he's saying is true. So if you want to look at another mystery, look at that. I think what he's doing is like he's expecting people to assimilate his information as faith-based.
Yes.
And we're not about faith in the scientific community and the Bigfoot research community. It's not about faith. Don't have nothing to do with it. If you either got evidence or it didn't happen, that's just the way it goes, man.
Bigfoot Society says 4 hours of one wild timeshare presentation. Yeah. The other thing too is you talk about faith-based. Several times throughout the presentation is, you don't have to take my word for it. So he's basically asking you to take his word for it.
Right.
He makes several what we call objective reasons throughout. People have called, I wouldn't hoax this. Why would I hoax this? I don't need to hoax. He brings that up, which is completely, and he's very meek. He goes, they can go scratch if they don't believe me. That's not anger. That's, being, feigning anger, if anything. To me, and he knows that, or he should know that, he should have worded it a little, if he was telling the truth, he would have worded it quite true. And, Don Fuller makes up the reason why, and let me pull up his gallery page on his Team Squatching USA page is, he tried using a Tesla coil, apparently, in one of his experiments. And of course, if you look at any of his gallery pages, they're the same 3 pictures. There's no pictures of anything else. And hello, Brent is in the house too. And we've had so many people. CC's in the house, Brent's in the house, Eric Altman's in the house. There's a few others that snuck in while we were. Angel Nolan is in the house. Raptor
Angel?
Crazy in the house.
Raptor.
I think Bigfoot and More was here. Michael Haywood's in the house. So,
right.
Yeah,
I must have missed this thing. What's with the Tesla coil thing? What?
It was one of his experiments, alleged experiments he had. He had some sort of coil thing, I believe. So, that's why he's got Nikola Tesla in all these pictures. But that's it. I mean, this is the extent of the gallery. The same 3 pictures in 4 galleries featuring the same.
Did that have something to do with this supposed, what is it, some portal he knows how to operate or something?
Very well could be. Like I said, and Sassy Squatch Girl was in the house, too. Oh.
Welcome.
I guess. I didn't, after watching his presentation, that's about all I could take for one day before I'd be locking myself up.
Well, what would have been great if somebody had been there and at the beginning of the presentation just raised their hand and said, "Excuse me, are you planning to show any sort of physical evidence during this entire presentation?" And then when he said no, just get up and leave. Man.
So, I mean, look at the, you want to talk to a person who says that, who scoffs at everybody not knowing anything, and then turns around and says, on this page, "Welcome to Camp Janu Gallery." And this is the only 3 pictures. After the Exodus. Now, if that isn't a biblical connotation,
yep,
and resulting, even more to the opinion that this is a cult,
yeah.
Zorth told Dr. J, the designated ambassador for the Janu Council of 12, and then quotes said the 13 at Soya, that when the Johnsons moved to their new home in Chehalis, Washington area, he would have a family there waiting for them. There are now 9 families living on the Johnsons' 10 acres of forested property adjacent to the 500,000 acres of the Weyerhaeuser timber property. We hope you enjoy viewing the photos and reading the descriptions that depict interactions that both Matt, Cynthia, and their friends are experiencing on their property on an ongoing basis. Well, there's only 3 pictures on all the galleries, and they're the same ones. So I guess the interactions aren't going as well as planned, at least not on the website. But while we're at that, so here is this new, they're moved to their new property, and now he's having people camp out on his property, which he's charging $150 for a weekend per person to do that, which you may purchase through TeamSquatchingUSA.com. In no way am I recommending that, but
that's a nice scam there.
I put that out there so people can see for themselves. But here is a very interesting post that he made just this past May. Spring cleanup. The annual spring cleanup is coming this Saturday. For every full day of work you provide, you will receive 1 free weekend of camp. You may arrive Fridays, blah, 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 blah. We will provide meals and drinks. However, if you would like to help by bringing snacks and beverages, that would be great. Please bring chainsaws, weed whackers, tree pruners, and a variety of gardening tools.
Where is this Hasty? What are they cleaning up?
His house. His house. Yeah, his property.
Grounds at the...
His property.
No. His property.
His property.
He may be crazy, but he's foxy.
Oh, my God.
So, very...
Well, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, if any guys want to show up and help me clean up my property, I mean, you're welcome to. You can have free camping for a week if you want it. I don't care.
Next to the hole in the yard. A lot of people don't know this. Chris has a hole in his yard.
Yes, I do. I have a hole. It's a cave, actually.
It's a cave.
Yeah, if anybody wants to explore the cave, you're welcome. Just, sign a waiver. If I die, I'll sue Chris.
Yeah, what gets me is, this is the same. The very same Dr. Matt Johnson that I have seen videos of sitting in his car with who he calls this guy named Bubba that's in his head that comes out and talks through him.
Oh.
And I'm like, how in the hell do you take someone like this seriously?
Beep.
Exactly.
So he majored or minored one in psychology, has a degree in psychology or something like that. Then he learned how to create a multiple personality.
Some of these comments are great.
It's pretty good.
Why can't we use the Bigfoot he saved from the dead planet to do the work? Good question.
Yeah, really?
It seems like those Janu are just lounging. Put them to work, damn it.
Yeah, those are the mining Bigfoots. He could leave them a deer or something out there, and I'm sure they'd be fine, right?
Yeah, so now we have...
if we have mining Bigfoots, we could sure use those in Kentucky, dude. We got a lot of coal. We could put those rascals to work, And
now we have a bit of financial advice from Dewey Screw and How, the best financial advisor in the world. Want to know the secret of turning $40 into $400? Put the $40 in the gas tank, then drive to work. There you go.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah. Sorry, we just had to do that commercial.
That's pretty good. I can't believe this, that he's actually inviting people to come out and clean his property and then give
never let anyone named Bubba inside your head. I want to, so moving on to this whole thing, you see, the emanations or the start of a cult.
Yes.
At that reveal. You see him, traditionally do with, is the same. He sits there and bashes very subtly, the Bigfoot researchers who, at the end, he goes in to say, well, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have a big target on my back. Again, he is elevating himself as the man who's saving everybody who believes in this. You don't have to worry if you believe me. I'm taking it for you. Yeah. The target's on my back. Self-grandizing statements. And then he goes down the list of people, the people who believe that the Bigfoot are dumb, stupid apes. They'll tell me how wrong I am. And they're haters, and they're nothing but haters and trolls. And then there'll be people who believe in the woo-woo, and they will tell you that I have it wrong. And, so he's going down and quantifying every particular group that's going to say no to him.
Yeah.
And turn around and say, I am right. But don't worry. I have the target on my back.
Right. See, when he's making statements like that, now he's using psychology on the crowd, and what he's telling them is let me lead you, and then you won't have to worry about people going after you. I will be the leader, and they will go after me. But let me be the leader, and I'll put myself in that position so you don't have to. Right. And it's pretty sneaky in a way, Of course, I realize his little attempt at building a cult is probably kind of small right now. I don't know how many people he's got, how many believers.
And I just want to throw this out here. The person I really wish we could have on as well would be Leon. But I know Leon is still recovering. But, hey, buddy, we're out there, and we're glad to see you're starting to show your face around, brother. It was good.
Leon.
Exchanging some words with you the other day. So.
Good deal.
Getting better every day. It just the whole transfixing of his position within. So what is the next graphic? And what he does is he expounds these people that do follow him. Here's a great example. Dr. Matthews, 3 years ago, my friend and I started doing our own research in Northern Illinois. So we're going to skip over the next line. From all the reports and stories I've heard, I was leaning towards the latter, basically saying interdimensional beings, cloaking telepathy, infrasound in there. Well, infrasound is not not a product of an interdimensional being. Number one, the blue whale is certainly not interdimensional, nor is an elephant, nor is a tiger or lion. So I don't know why that person is necessarily, but you see the ill-fated logic that is being thrown in by the followers, that they are molding knowns into this thing to make it sound more reasonable or believable to others. And this is nothing new that people try to do. I just wanted to write and thank you for bringing clarity to the topic. And if I may offer some constructive criticism here, please let go of the anger and constant jabs you throw out to all the trolls and haters out there. So again, this guy's telling, let go of the anger, but he's calling everybody haters and trolls. Yeah. When in fact, they are the haters. And they are the ones who always make the trollish type of comments. When you're posting something in a social media group, how many times do we have somebody say, oh, they're interdimensional beings, you'll never, well, what evidence do you have of that? And then they start knocking you as opposed to backing up their story. It's something we've seen common with people that develop these cult-like followings, like Todd Standing, who will have people, or the haters, what I call the real haters, will turn around and say, oh, well, but they will never, you're just jealous, or you're just this, or you're just that. And instead of actually arguing with logic, like, for example, this whole Dr. J thing, since it's all fresh in my head, well, Dr. J, he had this maple bar that was eaten in his house. As ridiculous as it may sound, at least that's an argument, right? That is something constructive and something that a conversation can start to occur. But you're automatically stepping off with hater and troll. And later on, he even says, we understand your frustration towards these idiots. Again, here's this guy telling about, trying to say you need to stop your anger, but he's doing nothing but name calling and showing anger.
Right.
We get it, but don't stoop to their level. Well, you just have, if that is the case. And again, here we go with another comment we see commonly in hoaxers as well, is you're a professional and they're just jealous. And we know the truth and they don't. Again, the very cult-like atmosphere that this produces.
Yes.
You go to any cult member when they're a true believer of who they're following, and everybody else is wrong. They're not.
Yeah.
Always, all the time.
You can always tell.
There is no
had
compromise.
That dose of Kool-Aid.
Yep. There is no compromise. They just refuse to accept a reality beyond their comprehension. No, I comprehend it. I don't believe it. I don't see any evidence to support it. If you have any credible evidence, I'd love to see it, because you claim that this creature took a bite or licked the maple frosting off the maple bar. Well, there was your opportunity for DNA, Dr. J.
Yeah,
you're a scientist.
Yeah.
WTF? Do I have to bring the bear back from last week?
There's ways to investigate this stuff too, and one of the common things you should ask yourself: okay, well, something ate part of a candy bar or licked the frosting off a Pop-Tart or whatever. What would be the most common thing in the house? Well, could there be a mouse in the house? You got to start small. It's because I guarantee you, if I find a cracker that's been nibbled on, I'm not looking around for Bigfoot. Okay,
right.
I'm looking for something, relatively common.
I'll tell you what.
Well, Chris, you can't further your narrative unless you jump right to Bigfoot.
Well, here's the other interesting thing. You know, he's showing these pictures of these shadows on the wall, which you can hardly see unless you change the contrast, and then it's very slim at best. That was the two Janu in the house, the big one and the little one. It was supposedly the little one that took a bite out of this candy bar. But, you know, something else a cult member does, or a cult leader will do. And understand, I have studied cults in all kinds of criminal psychology throughout my life. And one of the things Jim Jones used to do, he would heal, and he would have these, you know, shills in the audience. And he would, oh, we're going to heal you. And then he would take them, and the person would feel sick. Take them and back, take them and back. And what he would do is he would get these chicken guts, and he would chop them up fine and roll them through some newspaper or a cloth. And then the person would come out with this chicken gut in the cloth going, look, I went to the bathroom and I threw this up. This is the disease. The disease is gone. So it's not uncommon for a cult leader to play these little tricks to further manipulate the people who believe him. And this is what you see, is this gross manipulation of people, their feelings. You know, how many things are feeling based? When it's time to talk about the bad things, he moves on to the Trachon, but they're not part of the Janu. The Janu are kind, and that's who I represent. Right? Demons and angels, brother. It's no different. Demons and angels.
Yep.
No different. Just unreal. Got another one here.
This is spooky. And, you know, somebody that wants more information, it's not necessarily a troll or a hater. They're just like, okay, you believe this is happening, but, you know, where's the evidence?
Right.
You know, convince me. You know, that's all. And if you say convince me, they're going to say, oh, you're a hater. You're a troll. You're jealous, you know.
Or a fraud, depending on if you're, you know, a 6 foot, you know, a 6'6" person, that's a troll or a hater, or you're a fraud if you're, you know, a 6'2" bald, you know, wash up, then you're a fraud. Because you disagree with them.
Go to if you ask any questions whatsoever, just to question them is a no. No, don't question me. Take everything I say at my word. Take it on faith. Well, and I'm like, look, I'm an atheist. I don't take anything on faith.
Well, that type of mentality kind of goes over to another faith-based religion that is considered a cult by some. You're not allowed to ask questions. You know, they don't want any media attention.
Well, you know, I was a Jemima's Witness, but since I became a diabetic, I had to give up pancakes, so I'm no longer a Jemima's Witness. So look at this in the self-grandiose thing. Who's doing who the favor here? You know, it goes on for a little biography, and this is on the bottom of their website, and it's their actual footer on their website. It's on all the pages. Dr. Matthew Johnson has been featured on 15 plus TV shows and 300 plus radio programs over the past 20 years. Although his family's initial encounter with the Bigfoot up on the mountain above the Oregon Caves National Monument Park on July 1st, 2000 has been thoroughly covered. Absolutely no one has filmed a complete documentary of his 20 years of research, unlike the same old TV programs that are on the air every season and never end up finding Bigfoot. Dr. Johnson and his associates have not only found the Bigfoot forest people, they know who they are and where they're from and why they're here. Dr. Matthews and Cynthia Johnson are seeking a documentary producer who's willing to put in the time. You don't put in any time without the green, buddy. Sorry. To thoroughly cover his 20 years of research, including an abundance of evidence. What evidence? Oh, look. Here's a picture of a bowl. Here's a picture of a bowl with stuff missing in it.
Yeah.
Here's not evidence.
He's holding the bowl with stuff missing in it.
And you know what? Why aren't we DNA testing the bowls?
Right.
Right. and multiple witness testimonials. Now notice he calls them testimonials. Again, another reference to religion. You know, not witness interviews or witness testimony. They're testimonials, which is different. That's what you do in a church, is a testimonial or a testament. But you do not, you know, I don't call it a testimonial when somebody's, you know, telling me what a thief looks like, or what, you know, somebody who burglarized their house looks like. Right. All right. So moving forward, the end product will be unlike anything ever produced. Well, you ain't shitting there. Sorry. Or ever revealed about the Bigfoot forest people. Well, I think that, you know, cloaking and interdimensional Bigfoots and alien Bigfoots, that's all been covered before, Dr. J. Hate to say it to you, just not you at the helm. In short, this will end up being a positive career changer for you, your media company, and a mind-blowing revelation that will help change mankind's understanding of everything we've been taught to us to be true about the universe that we all live in. There he is. He has unlocked the secrets of the universe, people. Unlocked. He is all-knowing because he is basically the prophet of Janu. You know, the Janu. And, you know, it's just, come on.
I wonder if he has any property for sale up there next to his 10 acres.
Well, I think, wasn't the Bhagwan Alvaranish up that way too? Maybe that was Oregon. I don't know.
That might be a good place for research.
It's just, oh, hang on. I know exactly what he's talking about. Hang on. I'll be right back. You guys commiserate.
Well, what do you think about it, Joe?
Well, you want the kid glove version or just the whole hard truth? Because if you want the whole hard truth, the guy's nuttier than a fruitcake, man. And there ain't no amount of open mind is going to make any of what he says true. You know, I mean, it's one thing. This guy is an extreme of a lot of what you see online and from what I've heard from other people. Right. This guy is an extreme. He is on the extreme end of the scale, man. And it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Well, and yet, there's people that follow him.
Yeah.
OSPCA TV.
To me, it seems like he's trying.
OSPCTAV.
Oh no! It seems like.
And notice I'm doing that with a book called Earth Science.
Earth Science, yes. All right.
Because yes, unlike a lot of people that I have a lot of Earth Science books that I have as reference. I have a lot of wildlife books that are reference, tracking guides, stuff like that. That's where the real evidence comes from, not from interactions and pictures of shadows on the wall, right, or, eating candy bars or whatever that do not have a DNA test attached to it.
Well, yeah, I don't want Dr. Matthew Johnson to think that anybody's trying to be mean to him or anything, because I'm honestly, I don't hate him. I don't hate the man, or I don't hate what he stands for or anything. It's just that if he has evidence that anything, one thing that he says is accurate and true, just please show it so the rest of the world can see that you're not a fool. That's easy. And, like so often is said, on critical thinking, if you can't prove it happened, then guess what? It didn't happen. And that's just the way it goes. And now if you want to break off into a religion and try to create your own cult, okay, well, that's something too. But, you could go ahead and just tell everybody, well, this is going to be the Church of Bigfoot. And, if you want to have faith-based, services on Bigfoot, then you can do that here. But,
Curly, Norma. Hello, Norma. Good to hear from you out there. Girly Bigfooter. Norma, good to see you. All the weirdo and hoaxers have followers for some strange reason. That's because they base their research on ego, on shock value, on, all of that. That's the reason why they have followers. It takes us to build time to build followers. Why? Because we're speaking the truth, and the truth to a lot of people out there in the nether is, boring. It's
Boring.
not exciting. It's not a release. It's not, if I could, maybe I'll start another YouTube channel. I'll claim I'm a wizard, and you watch, because magically in October, maybe the end of September, I'll make all the leaves disappear off the trees, and
wow, you can do that?
I can.
Wow.
Sure can. That's celebrity status too. That's all part of their ego. I do
admit, I think some of it, a large part of it too, is as far as it goes to the reason why these people like Matt Johnson and others that I won't name yet unless you bring them up in this show, but the reason they have a following of people, I think, in big part, is because not necessarily that all of the people following believe what's being presented, although a good portion probably do, because there are some of them people who just will be gullible about anything. But I think a good portion of them are just people that are looking for some sort of release. Yeah. Just some sort of fantastical release and entertainment, and let's
face it. To me, this is my release. I can shut the rest of the world out. It's not fantasy, but it's fact-based release, from the things we don't like. And Chris said he turned me into a newt. The Wizarding World was a Squatch Detective.
There you go.
Again.
Now, the first thing, if I was a wizard, the first thing I knew is I'd return my hair. That was the first thing I lost.
Oh, man.
To me, the facts are fun. Closing a case is fun. Embroiling yourself in fantasy is lying not only to everybody else, but lying to yourself.
Right. We, as a researcher and investigator, I kind of feel like we like to deal with the facts. And so somebody asked me, hey, Mick.
Mick snuck in, said, sorry, I'm late, folks. There's a whiskey and PCP in the unmarked van outside.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, we love our audience.
As long as there's no meatloaf out there, Mick, you're all right.
Well, he used the meatloaf to break the window to get in the house. That got Chris. My usual timing with things.
Oh, you're killing me, Steve. I don't even know what I was talking about before.
I've just derailed my own show.
Train wreck. Yeah, it's gone.
And hey, Lockbeard just snuck in too.
Lockbeard.
What's up?
Oh yeah. I got it. It got back on the track. As a researcher and investigator, if I talk to somebody that says they had a Bigfoot experience, I'm interested in that. I know Steve will be interested in it. Talking to him. And, if anybody talks to me, I'll hear you out. I'll listen to what you got to say. And then if you say, I've got a picture of the Bigfoot, it was in my house. And then you show me a picture of a shadow on the wall. Well, our conversation pretty much going to end right there. And that's just, to be honest, I wouldn't consider that evidence. And if you had thought that was evidence, then your expectations are a little bit different than what mine are. Because I kind of like, we have to stick to reality. We can't really go with fantasy.
Sure do. And that leads us to another picture of a follower of Dr. Matt Johnson. He had the opportunity. Adam Davies took the opportunity to go out there and actually look at what he had. And then here's a comment on the picture that was posted in there that said the picture at 4303 at the right of the picture, it looks like there's a forest being there, but not fully cloaked. There is a face and a body there, and it blends with the bushes. Actually, it looks like there are two. And far back, it looks like a dark head is rising over the bushes. And there you have it. And there you have it again. And there are the people seeing the Bigfoot. Of course, this is the kind of stuff that Dr. J cultivates.
Yes.
You know, not only, and hence the word cultivate.
Yeah.
And this is the exact, you know, no red circle.
And people seeing like a face in something, trying to, in a pattern, random pattern. What
I see there is maybe some blueberry bushes, a couple of researchers, and a dingleberry. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, that's a bush back there. I mean, and yeah, Chris, I say that all the time. I mean,
and there's not like there's pollen not nearby.
Pareidolia is leftover from some very old instinct that we used to have. Pareidolia at times, especially back in the primitive days when we used to be on the menu for shit. Well, I mean, to a certain extent, you go out in the woods, you're still on the menu, really.
Right.
But that pareidolia probably saved our ancestors, our forebears, quite a few times, you know.
Yeah.
Being able to see a face in the bush, because maybe at one point or another, that face might actually be a saber tooth.
Right.
You know, so.
But, you know, I think what he's doing there is he's using that part of our psychology to further his cult belief, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it's common and it's normal and it's natural if somebody looks at a pattern, say a bunch of leaves.
Right.
It's common to try, your brain is going to try to make out a face because what's most familiar to us, other humans, other, you know, faces. And so Steve and I I shared a picture with Steve one time and said, look at this and these leaves. You can see, look at that. And it looks like Saddam Hussein's face. It was hilarious, you know. Of course, we both knew, you know, well, that's ridiculous, but it sure did. You know,
yeah.
And
well, you know, I mean, people, you know, the potato chip that looks like Jesus. You know what I mean?
What's the term for thinking you see a guy wearing a hat with buffalo horns? Buffalo Aura? Buffalo Roa?
But some of the stuff, you know, like he's doing like that, that's kind of disturbing that he's using his study in psychology to work his magic on the people.
Yep.
And, you know, anybody that's had that, some psychology can realize that and they, you know, they see what he's doing. But if somebody hasn't had the psychology, they're like, oh, wow, it really is a Bigfoot over there, you know.
And the Curious Cryptid writes, my passport forbids travel to Pareidolia.
That's good, Steve. Yeah, that's Steve. There's a thinker for you. Curious Cryptid Steve. You know, he realizes the importance of critical thinking and the importance of asking questions and finding out information and looking at evidence rather than, oh gosh, this must be a Sasquatch because I see a shadow in this bush. You know,
right?
Now
I saw one the other day when I was out camping.
A bush?
A tree. That from where I was sitting, I just happened to look over, you know, the sun was starting to go down a little bit. There was still light out, but the sun was going down. And I looked over and on this tree about, I don't know, how far away would that have been? About maybe 25 yards or so. There was this huge dark spot on this tree. Man, it was part of the bark in the tree.
Right.
And it was a huge dark spot. but the shape of it from where I was sitting looked humanoid shaped, right?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, man, you know, I could probably take a picture of that from here or even a video.
Yeah.
And I could post it and go, look at the blob squatch or look at the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And people go,
Yeah.
yes, there's one standing by that tree right there.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, and
guess
he's
what?
wearing a top hat. Look at that.
Yeah. It's like, guess what? That's just part of the tree. That's a dark area on the tree.
Yeah.
That was all it was.
And you know what? There's so much to this business. But getting back to pareidolia, it's not only constant with us, but that's the reason why if you've ever seen videos, if you haven't seen a video like that, just search on YouTube, cat and a cucumber. Because the cats see a cucumber and they don't readily see it. They get startled. They jump.
They freak out, man.
And the reason being, I can.
Okay.
The reason being is when they first inhabited the planet, their natural enemy was the snake. So their eyes are playing a trick on them, pareidolia, to think when they look at them real quick, it's a snake. They jump. Now, conversely, if there's a moose in the yard and a Shih Tzu goes running up to the moose may actually run away. But if a German Shepherd or a Husky runs out to the moose will attack it. Why? Because their natural predator is a wolf.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing that's kind of ingrained in our bodies because we're always on the alert for something, looking out for us, watching us. Yeah. So not only does that extend into the cryptid world, but that also extends into the paranormal world as well.
Yeah.
That not everything you see out of the corner of your eye is a ghost or a shadow person or anything like that.
Right.
So,
I'm a big believer in using your developing your ancient skills that are still there, that's still ingrained in our DNA when you're out in the woods, and I think it's a very useful tool. Like when you get that sensation that the hair is standing up on the back of your neck, you know, that's because it is. That's a sense that's ingrained within you. That there's danger around. So if you're ever out in the woods by yourself in an area that's, you know, way away from everything else, and you get that feeling, and you feel the hair stand up on the back of your neck, that means look around. You know, stop what you're doing and look around because something's not right.
And you know what? It could be something as simple as there's a deer somewhere over there staring at you.
Could be, yes.
Yeah. Well, here's another interesting point,
but it could be a black bear too.
but let me, since we're talking about pareidolia and the pareidolia animals have, does Sasquatch have pareidolia?
That's a good question.
Well, I think they do. The reason being is, very strangely as this sounds, you know, we know the proclivity for a Sasquatch to not be bothered by a small dog, but they are very aggressive towards large dogs, which is the same reason for the moose. The large dogs are the coyotes and the wolves. And that's a very interesting parallel and a very interesting observation for somebody to make when you look at what we know now about cats and cucumbers and, you know, big dogs and moose, that a Sasquatch would reportedly have this same type of proclivity towards another creature. You know, same breed, or rather same creature, different breeds. You know, and there's a difference. Kind of like the shark who sees the surfer on a surfboard, and what it does is it silhouettes it like a seal.
Right.
And that's why they hit them. So, you know, it's very interesting how that behavior kind of supports what witnesses are talking about in the Bigfoot mystery over the years. So there's actually something we can draw from pareidolia and recognition from the animal world to the Sasquatch mystery, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So, We got one more to go here as far as
you guys in the chat are killing me.
They are. So the secret to squatching. And this is just a random comment. I have a buddy of mine in Washington State who not only claims he's run into Bigfoot on several occasions, but he says they want to make friends with our species. Oh boy. He claims they love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Well, of course they do. Who doesn't love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
Make me a sandwich. So there it is. Just bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out there and Sasquatch galore.
They love King's Hawaiian bread.
They probably do because it's sweet.
You know, you would think that would work with the strawberry jam or its jelly and maybe the peanut butter. I'm not certain. I wouldn't think the bread though. I wouldn't think they'd go for the bread, but you know, I don't have any evidence to say that would work.
Well, I'll give you an interesting story that actually occurred in New York in the Kinderhook proper during the time of the Kinderhook creature flap. We years ago had Bruce Hallenbeck on the show, one of the co-writers of Monsters of the Northwoods.
Right.
And a lot of sightings were based around what his mom was seeing. His mom was seeing them quite often. Right. What ended up happening was he ended up taking the feeder off the bird feeder, or taking the birdhouse off the bird feeder, right, which stood up some 6.5, 7 feet. And upon there, he would experiment with different foods. And the raw meats would disappear. And then one day he put a pizza up there. And he noticed the next day the pizza was gone. And this was kind of paralleling what the exact opposite of what Dr. Johnson says, is that, oh, Bigfoot loves carbs. You know, basically he's saying they love carbs. Food they can't get. That's what he says. That's the reason why they eat it. They can get all the meat they want. Moron. It's always, hey, if you're getting free food, take the free food. Every creature does that.
Yeah.
Right? Path of least resistance, less effort is the best way, if possible.
But did you know that deer won't eat damn cabbage?
They won't eat cabbage?
They won't eat cabbage.
No. You know why? Probably because they don't know what it is.
That could be because when I tried some of this stuff and left some stuff out, and I never got them. I never got them on because for some reason my game cameras malfunctioned this particular time. But I know for a fact. The only thing I don't know what ate it was the candy bar. That could have been a bear, maybe.
Could have been anything.
But all of the fruits were gone, and even the lettuce was gone, but nothing whatsoever touched the cabbage.
I bet you it ate it took the candy bar too, because they have a proclivity for sweets.
Deer? You think a deer would eat a candy bar?
Yeah, I would.
Maybe they would.
It's kind of funny. My nephew just showed me a video. He had a deer in his dad's my brother's backyard the other day, and they were throwing bread to the deer, and the deer was, chomping that bread right up. So, I think a lot of animals do have a proclivity for like simple type of things. So bread, Dr. J says, oh, bread. Yeah, I'm sure a Sasquatch would eat bread too. It smells good. It tastes good. It's filling. And like Norma says, they're opportunists. Am and Chris has a great question, but before I get to Am and Chris's question, I want to, finish up the story about, Bruce Hallenbeck's mom. And, so he put a pizza up there one day, and, the chicken was gone and he couldn't find it. The steak he put up there was gone, couldn't find it. He put some ground beef, that was gone, couldn't find it. Tried an apple, that was gone. But then he tried a pizza, and he found the pizza box at the edge of the yard, and it was opened, and there were scratches on the boxes, and I guess a couple of pieces were moved, but nothing was eaten. It was completely there. And the only thing he could figure is it wasn't familiar what it was. It was totally foreign to the creature.
Right. Yeah.
So it like, oh, I know what this is. I'm not eating it.
Right.
You know,
that makes sense.
You know, of course, had it eaten the pizza, it would probably be taken, you know, we would now find Bigfoot because Uber Eats would be going to it. But, or DoorDash.
Well, you know, Igor Burtsev has got the one that uses a cell phone. You know, next thing you know, Bigfoots are on cell phones calling up pizza joints, man.
Yeah, fluff. Yeah, put some fluff on that bread.
I did a whole.
Now, see, remember, primates have that salt and sweet ecstasy flavor. Now, and Chris, and I want to get to his question. Why can't habituators ever get a picture? Because it's going on in their head. Now, you ask Dr. Johnson, and he'll say, I have plenty of pictures. And he'll show you pictures of foliage with shadows and walls with shadows and saying, well, they're cloaking. That is another excuse of getting around the real truth is there's nothing there.
Oh, yeah, they have a lot of excuses like, well, they don't like it. They won't come around if they know I have a camera.
Here's the picture of the empty ski can that the Sasquatch drank.
Yeah, well, exactly. You have all these pictures of, oh, here's the rock pile, here's the gift. It left me a pile of rocks. It took the stuff out of the gifting bowl, which if you haven't caught the gifting bowl on the channel, watch it.
Steve's got a video on the gifting bowl you need to check out if you haven't seen that already. Please watch. It's if you're listening on the podcast, go to the YouTube channel or go to the website Squatch-D TV and check it out because it's worth a watch.
I'm sorry, Life is the Flyway. The only Igor we know is the one that was on Young Frankenstein. Young Frankenstein.
Right.
Of course. Here's one. We know Bigfoot has a cell plan. That guy in Florida keeps getting text messages from him. We don't know that one. Is there a guy in Florida getting text messages from Bigfoot?
I think I know what he's talking about. I can't get Ross to text me, man. Tell you. So he must not have a cell phone.
Well, you know, it's really funny. That gifting bowl was shot. I videoed that during COVID. That was before the whole Burtsev phone call.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
And of course, you know, and Nick, yep. Igor Burtsev seems to have lost his marbles. He actually believed that Sasquatch called him and spoke Russian. And, you know, lost your marbles or just really
that naivety right off the cracker, man.
Yeah, naivety. Somebody is pulling his chain. I would hope he's not believing that, you know, but what the hell, you know? If my phone rang right now and there was a voice on the other side, I am Bigfoot, I'd be like, see you later. Click.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want? My social security number next or my credit card number?
Yeah. Or maybe just want to tell you about your car insurance or car warranty. I'm sorry.
Maybe he's trying to set up a whole new Sasquatch calling line. 99 cents for the first minute, $1.99 thereafter. You don't know. It's wild. 1-900 the Squatch.
Call up the number. Yeah, you call up the number, and then some dude on the other end going ooga booga. You know, that's okay.
This is Bigfoot calling you on the phone. I just wanted you to know that your information just came across my desk, and we noticed that your car warranty is about to expire. So we would like to interest you in our new Sasquatch coverage.
Excuse me, this is Bigfoot. Would you kindly drop off a back scratcher in the woods the next time you're there?
Well, you know, I've seen videos of this guy, and I've watched them over the years of guys doing the gifting thing. And, you know, I don't know. I just don't think they're that trusting. I really don't. I don't think that these creatures are willing to accept something freely from somebody else that they don't know that might have a nefarious agenda, you know. Maybe they do. I don't know. I would like to know.
Speaking of the king of pareidolia, let's not talk. Let's bring up the Portuguese Squatch.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them out there. Let me see.
Yeah.
Mark Zasky.
Well, don't forget he was running around with that costume for a while too.
Yeah.
And again,
another person decided to use on his page saying, "Oh, what do you find when you look on the trail cam and you see this?" Yeah, there is so many different. That's somebody who I haven't heard from in a while is that How to Hunt guy.
And again, we're not being haters,
No.
Just,
realists.
Part of being,
Yeah.
Part
we're
of
not
being
being
an
haters. This is silly.
Is
It's
looking into
silly.
explanations for things, and possible causes of things. And when you have an explanation that is rational and reasonable and obviously, what it is, it's definitely not a Sasquatch if somebody can see a porcupine.
And everybody that's out there that's like that, that's putting out all this, they get so, I don't know, they just get so angry and butthurt.
Yep.
Because, and they don't understand, I'm sorry, you got no right to be butthurt.
Right.
I mean, you can't show somebody that. How can you expect it? I've never expected anybody. I'm totally being a hater.
Lockbeard, I am totally being a
Well,
hater.
he's honest. Look, I never expect, and I don't ever expect people to believe my encounter with Rasta because I can't prove it. I don't have any proof that happened. I have none. I have zero pictures, man. Therefore, I cannot get mad when if somebody says, "Hey, have you ever seen one?" and I say, "Yes, I have," and they say, "Well, tell me about it," and I tell them my encounter, I can't get mad if somebody goes, "Well, I don't believe that." Where's your proof?
Yeah.
How am I going to get mad at that?
Right.
I was the only one there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the time to say, well, you believe what you want. I know what I've seen, and you're entitled to your opinion.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening.
Well,
But I'm not looking for validation from you. I have already have my validation, and that's that.
Yeah.
The
You have to
bottom
keep
line
in
is-
mind, that's a little bit different, though. I mean, like somebody says they had a sighting. Well, okay, great. It doesn't really matter if anybody believes them or not. If they had their sighting, they know what they saw or what they didn't.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But back in the old days, like 2010, over at the Bigfoot forums, which was actually, it was a great site back then. Still is, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been there for a long time. We ran into some type of people, and they would show like photographs of a close-up of blades of grass. And then they would have red circles showing where they thought the Sasquatches were in the blades of grass.
5 or 6 different Sasquatch there in that picture.
And we're talking, the Sasquatch would have had to have been literally this tall, okay? Now, you deal with people like that, and they maybe believe it, maybe he was just joking, but there are people that make a case, oh, wow, yeah, I see them. They're there. Okay.
Jay Fritz says, I trust my Bigfoot. He's the only friend that hasn't hit me up on my Cash App. And I'm not being trollistic here. On the face of things, the people that listen to this show normally are people that have they're both feet on the ground. Right? If you go out into the real world, the stuff that we say on a normal basis kind of is met with a lot of skepticism.
Yeah.
But the stuff they're saying is downright loony.
Yeah.
Loony.
Yeah.
Showing pictures with all these Bigfoot in there. And you know what the amazing thing is, what drives me nuts, is the people don't even have an encounter. Right? They just turn around and say, hey, I was just snapping pictures and looking at all the Bigfoot in this. And then people go, oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
What? That's about as much as a troll comment
as
a person that says, you're crazy. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
because now they're just agreeing with them for the sake of agreeing with them.
Yeah. And I'm certain there are people and channels on YouTube that do that. They go into the woods and they take a video, and they do it when there's a lot of leaves and stuff, okay? They take a video, and then maybe they'll snap some pictures, some stills of different areas.
With all these, and Raptor just said something that strikes me too, is, you know, people put peanut butter and jelly in the woods on bread, and every animal in the woods will eat it, but yeah, it's a Bigfoot. And the amazing thing is you're not putting a camera up near that item. Oh, well, they're afraid of that. Oh, bull. Yeah. I call bullshit right then and there, because you know what? I'm sick and tired of people saying they can't get a photo because Bigfoot can detect these things. And, you know, I've heard the full gambit that they can see the infrared. Well, number one, the infrared only flashes when the camera activates. It's got a photosensitive eye in it that does not emit a beam. Very simple. Look in a night vision scope at a trail camera.
Yeah.
The only time you see the lights flare up is when they activate, not when they're sitting passive. Number two, Bigfoot can smell them. Bull. They are a primate. A primate does not have the greatest sense of smell in the world. No. You know, a bear does, a deer does, a dog does. Why? And a pig does. Why? Because they have these nice long snouts and they have all these little nerve receptors for their nose. We don't have that. We got these tiny little pudgy things on the front of our faces. What is our major sense is not our noses, but our ears and eyes. That's what a primate is, has a very good sense of vision. And if a Sasquatch has a tapetum lucidum, then they have night vision pretty much on their own, where they can get all that light and collect all that light and see a lot better in the dark. And the eye shine generally will back that particular theory up that witnesses have seen.
Right.
If those are Bigfoot, I mean, even the eye shine, I think when we were talking about it there, Steve, that time, even if that eye shine that I saw was Bigfoot, I'm pretty convinced, I will admit, I'm pretty convinced I think it was, because I can't explain what else it could have been. I kind of ruled out everything else that it could have been, such as owls and this and that, and because, I mean, whatever it was would have had to been in midair, you know. And I've never seen an owl hover in midair and look at you. Yeah, can I prove that they have that? No. And the thing about the camera, I don't know. Does Bigfoot sees infrared? I don't know. I don't know about that, but you know. I don't buy the thing about they don't like cameras. I honestly don't think they know what a camera is. You know, yes, maybe it's true. Maybe there have been times that people have been out there putting up trail cameras, and if there's a Sasquatch watching them, maybe they see them put this thing on a tree. But yeah, I don't know. I still am not there when it comes to the reason why they can't get a picture of a Bigfoot on a trail cam is because they know what it is. I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe they'll avoid it because they see you putting a piece of equipment there, but for any of the reasons, you know, Bill Guinness probably had one of the better explanations that possibly why is this ultrasonic hum that the electronics give off.
That's interesting,
in a device. You know, I sure do miss Bill. Bill passed away a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Great guy, knew the FLIR technology like the back of his hand. Actually worked for FLIR, built FLIRs. But he had this running theory that it may be because of, well, then explain why we're having so much unluck with thermal. You know, and they don't emit anything, right?
Right.
Yeah, at least not that you can see in a night vision scope. So, people do not understand the work mechanisms of a trail camera. So when they say, oh, they can see them with their, they can see the infrared. Well, they don't emit infrared. So put that out of your mind.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I blogged or there's a video somewhere on the channel about trail cameras and Bigfoot.
Well, there you go. That's going to, I don't know the answer, so I'm going to make one up.
Yep. And Jay even said any electric motor will puts off a hum. Right. But that doesn't seem to discourage the deer. It doesn't, we know that Sasquatch is a naturally curious creature. So why wouldn't that hum attract their curiosity? That's my only point.
Well, when I was doing that 24-hour video recording project, Steve, I got a lot of raccoons, and that camera had those LEDs, and they were red at night. You could see it lit up. And so I would get raccoons that would come over there. Of course, I had the camera hid on if you remember, it was hid in like an old riding lawnmower that was sitting back against the fence row. So it was kind of like hid from view. But you could see those red LEDs, from the other side of the fence. Sure. And a lot of the raccoons would come up to that. And then, of course, they would grab
sure.
the apple or whatever I had out there bait. And they would look. They would look over every so often. They would look at that camera. And, I knew they were seeing the red light, but I don't know if they were seeing infrared. But I think they were seeing the color of the LEDs.
Sure. And the difference there is those cameras 24/7 emitted that infrared.
Yes.
Not like a trail camera that would just go.
Right. Trail cam is off up until it triggers, and then you get that right.
Correct. Yep. So very, very interesting. I like how this discussion has run the gambit. But
well, the one thing, Steve, that I want to know about, though, that I got to say, I really find it fascinating, is that I really have I'm trying to understand, because that there are actually people, at least some of them. Now, I think a good portion of the people that are coming up with a lot of this is just, they're doing it because they want the attention. They like and maybe they think that they can make lots of money somehow, and if they just get popular enough. And so I think there's a lot of that, but there are some of them that you listen to them and you go, son of a bitch, man, that person really believes what they're saying.
Right.
And I won't mention, there is somebody named, his first name is Tom. And I think a lot of the mind speak, psychic Bigfoots generated with him. But to hear him talk, I don't know him personally. Never met him before in my life. But to hear him talk, you go, wow, this guy really believes what he's saying.
And that's very true. I mean, we're just looking at one aspect,
And it's like you're like, man, there's no way what he's saying, And that's when people go, you got to keep an open mind.
What is he saying?
Oh, he's Bigfoot's his mentor. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, again, that is
tells him stuff psychically all the time.
Yeah. Teacher says, we used to run that little shtick. Remember a few years back, Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Teacher says, Sasquatch says, do not litter in the forest.
Right. I'm not so great with accepting that.
Oh, here is a question and a half. He's asking the big money question here. Do you think the Sierra sounds are legitimate?
Yeah, they're real sounds.
They are.
I don't know if it's Bigfoot, but they're legitimately actual sounds.
For many, many years, I believed that they were legitimate. In the 90s, I got the DVDs, or the CDs. I have the actual Sierra Sounds DVDs, 1 and 2. You know, I've heard people say they've heard similar sounds. Unfortunately, I don't think there's been one recorded that sounds similar. And that is the only issue I have with that. It's kind of like a one-off. We've never seen really. Everybody that describes a Sasquatch says they have long hair, right? But the Sasquatch in the Patterson-Gimlin film kind of had short hair.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like and it wasn't lanky. It was robust. Does it mean it's not real? No. It just means that I haven't seen a similar capture to that before. So if we don't get that, until we get that, I should say, I always have that little bit of skepticism in the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe if you look at if you believe in the Freeman film, that's kind of a robust, short-haired Sasquatch as well, very similar to the Patterson film. But was that modeled after the Patterson-Gimlin film, or was it a legitimate one? Again, right. You're never really going to know the definitive answer. And a healthy dose of skepticism should always be in the back of your head. Yep. The thing that, to me, proves a Sasquatch is real was my two prints. My one print, and then a year and a half later, another researcher gets a print of the same individual, and the toe splay was different.
Now that's, that
is physical evidence that you can put your hands on. A hair that is unidentified, lacking the medulla, like all the Sasquatch hairs tend to do, that is real evidence, right? Provided they're tested or they're compared to other animals. Well, they're primate, but we don't know what they are and we can't get a DNA. Well, okay, what the hell is a primate hair that's undiscovered or not that's unlike any other specific primate doing in the middle of the forest in Oregon?
Right.
That's evidence.
Yeah.
That is, scientific evidence. That is evidence you can take and give it to a scientist. A picture, you can't do it with. An audio, you can send it to some acoustic people, but it's still to their subjective analysis.
Right.
Right. They can say, well, we ran it through the database, but that doesn't prove it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I can come up with a sound that nobody has ever heard before if I try hard enough and think it out enough, and people can say, well, it's, so you got to look at those type of things.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as the Sierra sounds, I mean, I got to admit, man, that's the thing is that, I've heard the same thing you've heard, other people say, yeah, I heard really similar things to that and everything else. And I got to tell you, I never have. I have never, ever heard samurai chatter that they call it. Those particular types of whoops, I haven't heard those. I've heard things that I've called whoops, but they didn't sound like that. I mean, I just, so I'm like, in the Ohio howl. I mean, I heard something that maybe similar to that when I was in George Washington National Forest, but it could have been a frickin' one of those air raid sirens for all I know, So I haven't really heard anything like the Sierra sounds. The only Sasquatch vocal I've ever heard was when Rasta screamed at me twice. That much I know is a Sasquatch vocal, but I've never heard it since then.
Right.
Gary
Johnson says, seems like the ball is still at the 95-yard line, OMFG. Well, yeah. I tend to agree that your best evidence is going to be the evidence our forefathers in this field looked at, the track evidence, because that's where you're going to find your eDNA now, and that's where you're going to find your hair, and that's, not in tree structures, unless you find a hair, unless you see the Sasquatch doing it, it's nothing.
Right.
It's nothing to be shown as evidence. It may be something to be talked amongst the researchers saying, I found this kind of weird thing over here. But it's not for public consumption, but people put it up all the time. Why? Because they find nothing else. Well, anybody can find a knocked over tree in the woods. I can go back in my backyard and find probably about 3 dozen because there's times there's wind and it whips and it breaks things in different directions. Yeah. So, and it breaks things over time. You know, unless you're a scientist or an ecologist that says, well, I can determine by the growth here and the growth there that these were done at the same time in different directions, then you've got nothing.
Yeah. Well, I agree with it. I mean, not only that, I mean, that stuff not only is not evidence of the existence, it's, you know, let's just for the purpose of the conversation, let's just agree that Bigfoot does exist, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows Bigfoot exists. Let's just say that. That still isn't even evidence of Bigfoot presence in an area, because so much other stuff can do stuff like that. You know, so again, footprints, man. That's what's, you know, that's how you know Bigfoot's in the area. You find some footprints. You know he's in the area.
The big problem in the community is, aside from all this nonsense that we've covered in the first hour and 15 hour and 20 minutes of the program, the big problem is that people have a lack of ability to compartmentalize, number one, that there is a section called investigative evidence and a section called scientific evidence, right? We may find things that are investigative evidence. You know, think about a murder crime. Think about a murder. We don't know who the killer is, right? But we're testing the blood sample that we have in the house. Turns out that it belongs to the victim. The only thing is that the wife, a month prior to the man's murder, got an insurance policy for him. And now she seems to be cavorting with another male just a month and a half after his death. What is that? Is that physical evidence? No, that's subjective evidence. And while that builds a case, that's not put to the prosecutor to prosecute the person because it's not enough.
Right.
But it's something for the investigators to talk amongst themselves, not put it out there, but talk amongst themselves and try to gather the physical evidence to prove that it was that person that did that.
Right.
That is the real world. In the Sasquatch world, and Jay says the butler did it. Perhaps. Maybe. It could be. We don't have the evidence to prove either way. Just like when people see street structures, they don't have the evidence to prove that was a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
When they hear a howl or a scream or anything like that, we don't have evidence that's a Sasquatch. When we hear a tree knock or footfalls in the forest, that's not evidence of a Sasquatch.
Nope.
When you're being followed by something's paralleling you, that's not evidence of a Sasquatch. All that is stuff for investigators to talk amongst themselves about it, put it out to the public, but as, hey, you make your own mind up. Not say, oh, listen to the Bigfoot that followed me. No, it's not that, right? Right? That is the whole purpose of what we should be doing. And then when we get that hair or that eDNA or that DNA or that blood sample or whatever physical evidence, then we shouldn't say, hey, we got it. Oh, look, right here. No, we should be taking that and then sending it out to one of our trusted scientists or to an independent lab that doesn't know what it is or whatever, and wait for that to come back before we say what it is or is not.
Yeah. When the lab sends the DNA test or DNA sampling back and says, hey, you've got a complete genome here of something. We don't have it on record, but it's something.
Oh, look, he's related to Saddam Hussein. But yeah, that's what needs to be done all the time. But, it's not. It's done by people. Oh, look, of course, we know that married couple down there in backwoods, wherever. Hey, we're going to go out there and do our research. And, listen to that. We heard them all out there and look at all the trees knocked down. And, no. Show me a print. Yeah. Something I can look at and examine, quantify, and put it under the ringer. Is it really a print?
Yeah.
That's what's important. Not this tree structure bullshit, pardon my French, or these cloaked Bigfoots on it, but yet, Matt Johnson wants to go out there and say, is he out to prove Bigfoot's real? Then why is he out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's not able to provide evidence, then why is he out there? When I'm out there in search of evidence, which is every good researcher's, mission, is let me gather the evidence. Gathering evidence, not saying what it is, gathering the evidence. It's okay to report stories. It's okay to say, hey, I spoke to this guy and I believe him for X, Y, Z, whatever. All right. I've talked to people too that have had, alleged paranormal experiences, which, like I say, may be explained by scientific method, but I never diss a witness, no matter what their experience is. They said it cloaked. If they said it whatever, I politely say, okay, I don't disagree with them. I don't sit there and belittle them. These words, this whole show is not against necessarily people that believe that. If you noticed, what I did was when I mentioned the other people that made the comments, I didn't say, especially the one who had the comment about the trolls and stuff like that.
Right.
He talked about his experiences. I didn't mention his experiences. I'm not belittling his experiences.
Yeah.
I'm belittling the fact that, his hypocrisy in his statement. When it comes to somebody like a Johnson or a Lapsaritis, they are putting themselves out there. They are the target of very fair criticism.
Yeah.
Not hating on anybody.
Nope.
We
Hey,
love
hello,
everybody.
the Bat Mom is in the house.
Bat Mom.
So that's I just want to make that delineation that if somebody has a sighting, I'm more than happy to hear it and quantify it, and it may be some parts of it that ring truth, and there may be some parts caused by other elements such as PTSD or tricks of the mind, like like I said, when you get a trauma, you forget things and you blank things out. Or you make up, PTSD, you start to see it everywhere. And it's very bizarre because Johnson at the beginning of his lecture talks about PTSD as a psychologist, and he's not even self-evaluating that he had a Sasquatch experience, which I do believe happened. Mind you, I do believe that back when his family was out there near the Oregon caves, that he did have an experience. And
the original thing. Yeah, I mean, I when I first heard that original thing before all the rest of this stuff, he had me convinced. I believed that he actually had an encounter and that he was scared for his family because of this.
Now, like you said, whether the knock on the head made him who he is today, I don't know.
Right.
I am not a neurologist. All I can do is point out some of the similarities I've seen in his presentation that all go back to very cult-like things. And that's it. I'm not knocking his experience he had originally, but anything going forward, there is no quantitative type of evidence there to say it happened or it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just pointing out the things he's doing that looks like a cult.
And pretty out there stuff.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have an experience, another thing to say, well, its name is Zorth, and this is what they do. And
I am the head of the Council of Bakers.
I'm ambassador. Get
ambassador.
it straight, Bennett. It's ambassador.
Ambassador. Yes, sir.
Or the lady who, I don't know her name. I've seen her a couple of times. Who channels, I think, a Bigfoot named Pax. And she has messages for the world from this Bigfoot named Pax. And she uses, what's that technique it's called? automatic writing.
Oh, yeah.
To write out his messages.
Joe, and Chris, when you look at all these people that supposedly have, like Kawani has this communication with the forest people and the Sasquatch people and the star people, or star children or whatever. Then you have Matt Johnson with his Janu and the Tracon, and then you have this woman with the automatic writing, and then you look at things like George Adamski, who wrote for years about his communication with aliens, or even to some extent Whitley Strieber. Well, you put them all together, somebody somewhere is not telling the truth here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as for the people who say that they've habituated or they've got habituation, I always say habituation situations. It sounds like Schoolhouse Rock, habituation situation.
So while we're on this, but the Janice Carter habituation in Tennessee. Okay,
those people. All I want to say is, you know what? If you actually have that, please let me come, because I want to see what you're seeing, because I want to see if it matches what I saw. If you really have these Bigfoots coming around, please let me come to wherever you're at and show me these Bigfoot, because I want to see them. I'm not going, hey, you don't have a habituation. You don't. I don't know. Maybe you do. But if you do, show it to me, because I want to see them.
See, in the case of Lapsaritis, I actually believe he believes what he's saying. Although I've seen in that short clip interview, I see some facial things that tell me he's really trying to look for acceptance. Trying to really be convincing that, I saw the Sasquatch people. And, I had a brain tumor, back in 2012, and the Sasquatch, so you see these little ticks that definitely think. Johnson, I don't know how he can believe what he's putting out there, unless, like I say, there may be some other things at play here in all of the above. But Janice Carter, let me give you an example about Janice Carter. There's a woman who says, had this Bigfoot named Fox, and Fox was doing this and doing that and all kinds of stuff and interacting and habituating and yada, yada, yada. She brings in Igor Burtsev. What does Igor Burtsev see? Nothing. Zero. And to show what kind of person Igor Burtsev is, he says, well, I didn't really see nothing, but I believe her. The gullibility factor. Any scientist of his salt would have went in there and said, you know what? I didn't see anything. Have a good day. That would have been it. Yeah. But no, he says, but I believe her.
Oh, Igor was living with her. He was living there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. He stayed like a few weeks and saw nothing over a few-week period. Now, the habituator will say, well, maybe Igor's presence kind of scared him away. Oh, horseshit. There's always an excuse. They don't like cameras. You scared him away. Oh, it's just, I've seen this firsthand. I've been out there where they brought somebody to claim they can channel a Sasquatch, and they would bring them in, and we sat around for an hour and nothing came in.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, game over. Have a nice day. Thanks for
name and everything. Is this the same lady who said that they borrowed garlic from her?
Janice Carter, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So again, there we have some more wild stories.
They want fresh garlic too.
Yeah, and then we have, and this was that was part of the Erickson project.
Pasta.
Yeah, people that know that was part of the Erickson project. Yes, it was.
It was.
And it was.
Grasshopper.
And so was the Kentucky Pancake Eater, who, after those people moved out, tried to make claims that the Bigfoot followed them to their new home after Erickson bought their home. So you look at all this and it's all very convoluted is the word I'm looking for. It's all very convoluted. It's just not really there. But anyway, folks, it's 11 o'clock already. It's time to go.
Yeah. If we have a Bigfoot church in Kentucky, our leader is going to be named Zalf.
and you know what? The one up our way is called Noth. So it could be Noth versus Zalf.
No.
Zor, Noth, and Zalf. Very good.
North by north, south. I don't know. All right. Anyway.
I'm going to look for notes when I come up there, man, in July.
Absolutely, Joe. I can't wait to see you, man. We're gonna hit the.
That's gonna be a blast, man.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a blast.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, Joe, I want to thank you, Buffalo Joe. I want to thank you for coming on tonight.
Well, thanks for asking me out, man.
And you know what? What I like about Buffalo Joe, there's no bull. Anyway. Anywho, Chris, your final thoughts for the evening, and we can kick off the show.
I want to thank Joe for coming on with us tonight, and thank everybody in the chat and all our listeners. We appreciate you guys. We're honored and tickled to death to have you with us every week. If it's your first time watching us on YouTube, please, hit like, subscribe,
and share.
Yeah,
sharing is caring.
We appreciate it.
And on behalf of Squatch-D TV, we'll be here next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, with an all-new episode. Can't guarantee Zorth will be with us next week, but you never know. Anyhow, we want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and healthy week. Keep safe out there, folks. Keep healthy. God bless. And of course, keep on squatching.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.